Here's Chiesa. What he's so good at, Chiesa! He's not just good at it, he's sensational at it!
The Calcio Guys is a weekly podcast by Adriano Donardo, Gianni Delacoli, and myself, Nicholas Di Giovanni. We want to bring Calcio back to its roots in our communities and share stories from around the world about why we're passionate about the beautiful game. You can listen to us anywhere where you listen to your podcasts, including Spreaker, Google Podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, iHeart Radio, and Mixcloud. Give us your opinion on social media at The Calcio Guys on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The intro song is Fireworks by Jazar. A nice little break from club soccer for international soccer. That's what we got to see this week. 3 games Italy played since we last had our episode here on the Calcio Guys. Gianni Delacoli, Adriano Donardo, I'm Nicholas Di Giovanni, and we'll start off with our guest this week. You might follow him on Twitter, Nick Comiso, or his alter ego, Average Chiesa, on Twitter. Nick, how's it going?
It's great. Thank you so much. I'm really looking forward to this opportunity.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're excited to have you on. Talk about Italy, and so we had a Juve fan on last week. So we'll focus. I know you're a Juve fan, but we'll focus on Italy. And you know what we normally do with our guests, we ask them, how you became a fan of the team you support. But since we're going to talk about the national team, it's pretty easy how you became an Italy fan. So instead, tell us about some of your favorite memories as an Italy fan.
Well, I'm 23, so usually I can't really give you, and not to make it sound more like a bandwagon, but I can't really tell you more past or before 2006. But easily to this day, 2006 is probably, with obviously what happened this summer, probably some of the best memories of my life. I remember absolutely every second of the quarterfinals, the semifinals especially. I was at my nonno and nonna's house, and I remember watching Fabio Grosso curl in that goal in extra time with Pirlo's ball. Also, my favorite goal ever will always be, no matter what happens, is Del Piero's extra time winning goal. As bad as it sounds, whenever you see Del Piero running behind the net and then you see that flash of that German girl crying on the sides, that's imprinted in my brain
priceless.
Forever. It's priceless. And honestly, even the celebrations at St. Clair, in Toronto when they won, that was incredible. Obviously, this summer was amazing as well. And in a different way, it was even better because I'm definitely an older age where I could have fully enjoyed it. I had all the great times with my friends every single game. We were celebrating, or we were going down to Market Lane in Woodbridge. It was fantastic. I'm just a lot of ups and only some downs in relativeness. You can't be selfish in comparison to other countries, but overall, it's been a really good time supporting the Azzurri.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially after this summer, like you mentioned, Nick, it's been it's been a good time to be an Azzurri fan as of late. We started Italiana, as we all know, this past summer. But yeah, 06, our generation, that's the prime time, time to be an Azzurri fan in our generation.
Sure.
But any idols growing up, I was going to ask any favorite players. In particular, I don't know if you want to put your Juve bias on or off, but you can take it away with that question.
If you're talking about in terms of me favorite players, and I even in this case, to be quite honest with you, I don't even think it's biased, but Buffon is always and forever. He's my idol. I'm a goalkeeper for anyone who knows me. I've been playing as a goalkeeper for almost 14 years about, give or take, and he's always been my idol. I would die on the hill for that man. If anyone, I've had so many arguments with my friends who either genuinely believe that there's someone better or that they just try to get under my skin. But I'll defend him till the end of time. Just such a great player. His leadership, his longevity is insane. Obviously, Del Piero. Pirlo is one of my favorite players ever too. Obviously I can go on and on, but probably those three are my three favorites.
Nice.
And do you have like a specific favorite Juve moment? Like being such a big fan of the club, is there like one moment in your eyes you'd be like, yeah, that's like I will replay constantly in my head, and that's something that's always going to stick to me forever.
Um, I do have a couple. Obviously, I have a couple bad ones. We don't have to get into those.
Yeah, let's not get
Still
into
kind of
that.
painful.
As
Yeah,
much
we're
as I
gonna
want to
avoid
do reminisce
that.
about the bad ones, I'll have some fun. But
Yeah.
in all seriousness,
Yeah.
what?
We can have fun for sure. 2017 Cardiff is maybe the most painful memory of my life, to be quite honest with you. But in terms of favorite moments, obviously their complete domination over the Serie A in the last decade. In terms of like for most of the decade, obviously, besides Inter's win last year.
Yeah.
Other than that, like I love personally one specific game is the 2016-2017 game where Juve beat Barcelona at home 3-0. And they just had the best attack of all time come to their field. Everyone's like, oh, they just pulled off this 6-1 incredible comeback against PSG. There's no one that's going to stop them. And then Chiellini, Buffon, Bonucci just absolutely just shut down everything. Dybala is also, by the way, he's one of like my favorite players. He's just that was his come out game. Like he just showed up and he was incredible. So that game, like I will replay over and over so often and not get sick of it.
Yeah, and it's funny because just like the year afterwards, Roma screwed over Barca
Exactly.
with a beautiful comeback game, and I think Barcelona has not recovered ever since then. So
mentally, never. No.
Yeah, which we won't complain about. I think it's time after years of domination that they kind of tone down a little, and other teams have a chance. And now the Prem took over, but
for sure.
Yeah. So the name of your account's Average Chiesa. I think it was Average Chiesa Enjoyer or just Average Chiesa.
Yeah. So
yeah, it's obviously I'm assuming it's in relation to the meme, but like, is that why or like?
That's actually exactly what it is. Yeah, because during so it is Average Chiesa Enjoyer. So basically, I've never obviously had a fan account before, and even this and I'll get into that. The entire origin of this account, obviously, it's a bit of hype because of like what the Azzurri just achieved this summer and everything, but also and we'll get into it. But I've been an actual day one supporter of Chiesa coming to Juve. Like he got so much hate, and the board got so much hate because they brought him in instead of Aouar, and they brought him in for 60 mil. Or by the time his deal is completed next year, it'll be 60 mil. But I've just been really, really into him, and I thought he could be a star, and clearly he has been absolutely that, and past even every optimistic person's expectations. The reason for the name is simply just for the meme. It was because you'd always see that meme where it was those two people beside each other, or it's an average lover, and then it said an average enjoyer, and it showed that giga chat. It just made me laugh. So I just had that name. And it just makes me laugh a lot. So I had to go with that.
So just to quickly insert, I guess I was a Giga Chat of this group, whereas Nick and Adrian, well, Adrian not so much. Nick fully was a Bernadeschi soy boy. So
we got it on record too. We got it on record.
We have to get into this. This is one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on, Nick. Is that
of course
we had a debate. I remember the episode was in the fall of 2019. And we talked about, Chiesa versus Bernadeschi because they had, similar career paths. Or at the time, we didn't know they were going to we didn't know Chiesa was going to also go to Juve, but, they were each at Fiorentina. And, I wasn't a fan of Chiesa, I'll be honest. I wasn't a fan of him, coming to Juve paying all that money for him because I didn't believe he could do what he's done in this past year at a big club especially. You're saying you're a Chiesa fan. At what point did you first recognize him? Was it first when he scored against Juve in January 2017 in that Fiorentina Juve game? Was it only a bit after? And when he eventually signed, like I said, I'll keep it about the national team. But when he actually had this breakout campaign with the Euros, I'm guessing you weren't shocked at all. Maybe it's something you were kind of expecting.
Yeah. So, again, there was a lot to break down there. So I'll just get to your first point. I kind of with him, not I was a fan of him, but I was definitely aware of him. Firstly, when he scored that goal against us in the 2017 season, for sure. And to be quite honest with you, I don't blame you for your hesitation with him, because like the problem with Chiesa is, and like even a lot of my friends say it, like I remember these exact conversations, is that like he was very one-dimensional, or he lacked consistency, because Fiorentino would play him in like a 3-5-2 or a 5-3-2, like whichever, and they'd play him as a right wing back, and then he was very one-dimensional and be like the constant like cut outside to like wide. Like he was very much like, he did definitely lack certain things to his game, but he just like, I don't know, like even when he signed last year, I remember like, and I still remember like a lot of people were mad because obviously, like, again, we're not getting into that, but Juve's midfield is like very lackluster. And like Aouar just came off like a crazy season, even though they cheated to knock us out, but that's okay. And with Leon and Juve, and like they just, I remember he got a lot of hate. But like my thing is like I've always seen like he's a very fast player, he's a technical winger. And at a big club, like I usually have that feeling that whenever you're at a big club with big personalities around you and big talent, you can just go up a level. Like I just feel like when you're around that like atmosphere, you're no longer the man. And obviously there was like all that, like all those problems at like Fiorentina with like Camiso, with Rocco Camiso, and all these issues. Like, and obviously like Ribery was there, and like Ribery like in his prime is obviously like incredible, but he really was kind of the man. Like Vlahovic wasn't on the scene. He wasn't like, he was the man. So now when he comes to Juve and he's like constantly surrounded by these talents, Dybala, Ronaldo, all these incredible big names, like you're forced to go up, or like your career is just going to hit a decline. So I thought that he could definitely spring, and obviously he did. For the Euros, I wasn't really surprised. I'm not going to lie to you. I was surprised like how many big moments he came up. Like he was just coming up from everywhere, like every single game, like obviously the Austria game. And there's a funny story about that game, was with my friends. We were watching it at, like All-Star Wings. Like it was a place in, like, I'm pretty sure you have that in Montreal, right?
No, we don't.
Okay, well, sorry. Well, it's just like a wing place in Toronto, or I guess in like Ontario. And we were sitting there, and I remember Berardi started that game. And the entire game, I was like, we need to put on Chiesa. Like, there's lackluster. We need to put on Chiesa. And all my friends were like, he's not going to do anything different. Like, just stop. And when he came on and when he scored, I think I lost 2 years off my life, because how hard I was yelling, how hard I was celebrating, and all my friends were like, "Oh my god!" He called it, like it was surreal. But he came up so big. He was just the big game player. Even against England, like I know he didn't score, but he was single-handedly dragging their whole attack forward. Like the fact that he like spun Rice in the first half. He got that shot off that Pickford saved in the second half. He put in the cross that they won the corner off, that they scored off the equalizer with Bonucci. Like he's just, I can't say enough about him. He's crazy right now.
Yeah, he's definitely the man. And he, like, for me personally, like what I like when we had these debates back in the day, it's now I think our fourth season of this show, and we've had this discussion many times. Now it's finally like we're finally turning the page, and we can kind of put to rest the argument and like the debate, because it is what it is now. But like you guys said, and like it kind of was at the time when he was at Fiorentina. Chiesa was the man, and it was never consistent, and he really like never like was able to like really put the team on his back and really emerge. Now he has, obviously, like the Euros, like you explained, and like we all watched and witnessed. And like where, like if we're speaking now just on Chiesa for a bit, because like we saw in this international break, it wasn't pretty. Obviously, he didn't play today. But his goal in the first game against Bulgaria, it's a one-man show on that, and he does it all, right? Those big moments that you mentioned in the Euros, it's him. If we don't have him in the Euros, if we don't have him for these moments, we're singing a different tune. Come today. So, like, what would you say like his potential is? Is there a ceiling for him? Obviously, he's shown that he's improved. He's matured. He's grown as a player. And what I've always liked about Chiesa is that, like you said, he's the technical player. And I just loved always that he was able to and was willing to take on the man and really, go forward instead of like being more cautious and really having that no fear going forward in the attack. So where would you say? I guess we'll stick with like the Azzurri, because that's what we're speaking about. Potential within the Azzurri, like is he the focus for the Azzurri project, let's say, going forward? Like, is he the one that you surround everything around, or is he just another piece?
I think, like, in terms of ceiling, like, I can't even tell you. Like, I genuinely, like, I'm not going to go into, like, he's going to win multiple Ballon d'Ors. He's going to do, like, I'm not, I don't know about that, obviously. But in terms of, like, talent, man, like, he's already world class for sure. And I think he can easily be, like, one of the best players in the world for sure. Like, because really, like, as we were kind of saying before, like, he came to Juve and, like, he had talents, but, like, he had things that he was missing. Like, everyone's, like, main criticism of him was, like, his finishing was bad. And it was. But then he just, like, out of nowhere, like, I don't know if it was his, like, weekly training or something, but his finishing has gotten better. His vision, his pace is, like, ballistic. The thing I love about him the most, you said it yourself, I don't know a player right now in, like, world football who's more direct than him. It looks like whenever he runs at a man, he is not losing the 1v1. Like, he needs to be fouled or he's getting by you. And, like, that is just, like, especially in our Italy squad, like, in the Azzurri squad, like, I don't know a single player who's like that. There's no one remotely close to that in our squad that will take on a player like he will. As for the Azzurri squad, though, I think he has to be the centerpiece. I think everything has to go around him. And obviously it's different from, like, regular club football. Like, you can't, like, sell people, you can't buy people.
Yeah.
But in terms of, like, the squad, like, I think it just has to be around him. And, like, regardless of what our attack will change and what it will be, and, like, because obviously, like, I don't know if we're going to get into it later, like, in terms of the other attackers.
We will. Okay. We will.
Because I have some things to say about those guys, but in terms of that, like, he has to stay. He's just the one mainstay piece. Like, as well as some, like, midfielders and stuff like that. Like, obviously, like, it's a blessing to have the midfield that we have behind them, but I think he has to be the center project for sure.
So overall, since we touched upon the Azzurri, by the way, I just want to add to your point. I was saying that from the get-go about Chiesa, about how he's one of our best technical players with his feet. He's he's not afraid to get into the tight spaces and try to come out of those tight spaces with the ball. Not exactly like amazing feet, like, let's say, Messi, but he's not. He if he's in a tight spot, he's able to come out of it more often than not. So I love the fact that you mentioned that. There
was that dribble. There was a dribble. I believe it was against Switzerland, where there ended up being a foul, like, kind of just outside the box, because he finally got fouled. But he took on, like, every single player. He nutmegged one guy who was falling. Like, that just goes to show, like, what we're saying, head down, go to goal, technical player. I mean, you're not going to get that from many other attackers, but I think we're lucky enough to have him on our side.
A technical bull, if you will, because his head's down, he's going head first, and he doesn't care. What he cares about is the stuff near his feet. But moving on towards the Azzurri, how would you feel overall about their past three performances? Today we played against Lithuania, our final game of this international break. Very good result, but obviously Switzerland and Bulgaria didn't really go as well as we hoped. But how do you feel about these past three games, Nick?
I think it's a very mixed bag, to be quite honest with you. Like, obviously today is a very good ending note, right? Like, you obviously end off on a high note. They end off, like, they literally played probably, like, their B to even potentially C team in, like, some positions, and they absolutely ran riot. I know Lithuania is obviously not, like, hard opposition, but at the end of the day, you have to beat what's in front of you, and they did, like, very well today. So for today, I definitely think was really good. The other two games, like, I don't know. Like, it's, like, obviously, like, the result was not what we wanted, for sure. And, like, there were so many frustrating things. But at the end of the day, against, like, Bulgaria, they had 27 shots. They had enough chances. Even the Switzerland game, like, they didn't have that many shots, but they were dominant about, like, 90% of that game. Like, it did not look like Switzerland was going to score that game. Bulgaria, they literally scored because of one mistake, because Florenzi got washed. And then I don't think Acerbi should ever play for the Azzurri, but that's another story. But, I don't know. Like, they had chances. They threw them all away. Like, especially sorry, I don't know if this is too deep for this question, but, like, even, like, Jorginho's penalty, like, I genuinely felt in my heart, I'm like, he's going to miss this. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was, like, the flow of the game, but I'm like, he's going to miss this shot. And, like, with his technique now, he never goes down the middle. He only goes left and right. So if you guess, you save it. Like, it's not even like, oh, it's too far in the corner where the goalie can't reach it. Because of his jump, he loses power. And he will never, like, if you guess the right way, you are saving it. So, I don't know, like, very frustrating games for sure. And I definitely think there were 4 points lost more than 2 points gained. But, I mean, we moved. It's a good thing Switzerland tied today. So it kind of deemed their tie, like our tie, useless, because even if they win their next 2 games, as long as they don't batter the other 2 people they play, we'll be first.
Yeah, and we still have, I mean, the game against Switzerland in November. I mean,
exactly,
that pretty much
in Rome.
In Rome, that at least that that can't be like another Spain situation from a couple of years ago where they lose that head to head. As long as they beat Switzerland, that game will be good.
Well, what is Switzerland like? They're above above us, no? In the standings?
No, they're 6 points below, but they have 2 games in hand that they're going to play in the next break because Italy has the Nations League.
Okay.
But yeah, frustrating to say the least. I mean, I feel like, I don't know about you guys, but I feel like ever since Spinazzola went down, like, the semifinal, the final, games against Bulgaria and Switzerland, like something was missing. Obviously, semifinal and final of the Euros, we're not going to talk negative about them because they won the Euros, but like losing Spinazzola completely changed. I find the formation. Having Spinazzola there helped Insigne. You see the game against Belgium. I think that was their best game of the tournament. Insigne with that tiro, Barella with the goal, and then they lose him, and they don't have that spark. And something was missing in those games, and you kind of saw the same thing in these 2 games. So at least today, changed things up. 5-0 win. Keane 2 goals. We got a comment on Twitter from Vasily put goals in. So not a Calcio account, more of a hockey account. Play on words for Vasily put Colson, I think his name is, for the Vancouver Canucks. He wrote, "I'm so glad Juve got Keane back. Not a Juve fan at Napoli, but from an Azzurri standpoint, you gotta love your young stud center forward and your young stud winger. The future of the Azzurri strikers playing together, developing chemistry in the Serie A, then destroying it in international competitions." He's definitely right there. But I think the talk of the town is the forwards. We got so many questions about the forwards from Italy propaganda. Who starts against Spain up top? Build your front 3. From Antonio Micheli. Pretty much the same question.
Yeah.
Who's the top
Antonio
3?
Antonio wrote a Bible.
We'll ask all his questions after.
I saw that for sure.
And he basically asked just what should Mancini's starting 3 be up top for the World Cup, given that Italy qualifies. I mean, the whole talk about is about Immobile because he hasn't been scoring a lot. I think he scored the first 2 games in the Euros. And then he didn't score for the next 5. Didn't score against Switzerland. Didn't score against Bulgaria. Keane comes in, scores 2. Raspadori scores 1. So who are your top 3, Nick? And then we'll go Adriano. We'll go Gianni. Not your front 3 for forwards moving forward.
Just a question: is this for Spain, or is this like, for example, like I know you said Antonio Micheli, he said the World Cup like next year. Are you just saying just for this immediate game, or just for like future? Like,
well,
if you have to pick?
Both.
I think the next
You can do
immediate
both.
game because I think the future is way too far ahead to predict at this moment.
Okay,
that's fine. Okay, that's fair.
Okay, so I have 2 answers. I have the safe pick and I have the risky pick. So it's really only one player that changes across. So the safe pick for me, I would say it has to be Chiesa, Insigne, and then Keane is the 9. I think Immobile is done in the national team. I don't think, like, as long as, like, he can come play, like, another Lithuania, you know what I mean? But, like, he cannot play serious games because I have never seen a player who is so different from their club form to their national form. And I even said that to my friends a few days ago, and they were naming me some people, and I'm like, none of these are as different. Because if you have a light blue Lazio jersey under him, he will score a hat-trick every game. He's incredible when it comes to Lazio. The second he steps up for Italy, I don't know what it is. Mentally, maybe he's just not like for it. He doesn't hold up the ball. He doesn't really get in behind well. He takes really long. So like even in the Switzerland game, I forgot who played the ball through, but someone played a ball through to him, and he had enough time to hit it first time, and he would have had a really good chance. He takes another touch, and the defender's right in his face. So I don't know. I don't think he's cut, and I think he's had more than enough chances. Obviously, as you said, Nick, he scored the first 2 games in the Euros. He also got an assist in both of those games. So I know that he, like, the first 2 games, like, to get a goal and assist, like, you take that for sure. But yeah, I think he's done, to be honest. Like, I can't really handle him anymore. I've kind of given up hope. I think Keane, for different reasons, not just today, I think Keane deserves a shot for sure. I think he's more, like, proven than Raspadori. I do think Raspadori, like, obviously can be very good. Like, even today, like, he had a very good game with Keane. He was very good. But I just feel like with Keane having more, like, club football experience at, like, the higher level, like, he played with PSG. He had last season, I actually have it here. He had, let me get it. Sorry. He had 19 goals and 1 assist with PSG. And I understand it's PSG and, you know, they have, like, a monopoly over the league, but, like, some of those came in the Champions League. Some of those came in, like, big games. Like, I think he definitely is more ready for it. And then I have Insigne on the left wing. However, player that irritates me more in soccer right now than Insigne. Like, I can't. He just really upsets me because, like,
we disconnect the call now, Nick, or just kidding.
Yeah, we'll do it now.
And, like, again, like, if you had to ask me right now who starts against Spain, I'm still gonna put Insigne in. I can't, because, like, I know he's talented. I know he can do it for Italy for sure. Unlike Immobile, like, Immobile, I've lost hope. With Insigne, the problem that makes me upset is that I haven't. And I know that he can do well, so that when he misses sitters and he does the overcomplicated pass, and, like, I know he's not a physical player, but, like, when he just misses a header that a 5'8" player would get, but a 5'4" player couldn't get, like, I don't know, like, he causes me some pain. I still think I would start him. But the risky one I would say as well is, and I don't really know which wing you would play them on, to be quite honest, because I do think Chiesa is a better right winger. I would say Chiesa, Keane, Zaniolo. If Zaniolo hits good form before, like, with Roma in the next couple of weeks, and obviously avoids injury, I think that could be a really good shout as well. And I've always thought Zaniolo was, like, more of a mid, but he is very good playing off the wing as well. So I definitely think it's something we could look at.
Adrian, Johnny, what do you guys think?
That's a fucking deep dive, man. Yeah, Nick did his homework tonight.
Yes.
Mommy, he did his homework.
I know I'm prepped too. I'm just gonna save it. That's all.
Go.
Can I go because Nick brought up a good point. Lazio,
Yeah, go.
Immobile. And Lazio Immobile versus Italy Immobile. Like, I have the stats to back that up, and it's pretty mind blowing, to be honest. In his Lazio career, 221 games. This is all competitions. 221 games, 154 goals. The guy's a machine. He's elite. He's one of the best strikers in club football. That's one goal every 1.44 games, or if you want to count his minutes played, it's 1 goal every 117 minutes. With Italy, it's 54 games, 15 goals. That's 1 goal every 3.6 games, and for minutes, it's 1 goal every 248 minutes. So you're looking at 1 goal every 3.6 for Italy, 1 goal every 1.44 for Lazio. So he's scoring at a rate of 2.5 times better for Lazio than he is for Italy. So I don't know what it is, but whatever the reason is, Italy's not getting the best version of Immobile. So I think, the front three, I don't mind Insigne still. Like I said, I find he played his best with Spinazzola, because Spinazzola opened up space for Insigne, and he didn't play so well with Emerson. So I'd still keep him there, but on a bit of a short leash, because you have Zaniolo available. Put him on the right, maybe Chiesa on the left, and I would go with Keane right now. Again, a bit of a short leash though, because if you're gonna have a bit of a problem with striker, it's a good thing. What I don't want to see Mancini do is just go with Immobile just because. And that applies to any player on the team right now. To go with any player just because they won the Euros. I think they can't get complacent. They have to, a player has to earn his spot. No matter what happened this summer, great, we'll celebrate, but there's another goal coming up, and that's the World Cup. So if you're going to go with Immobile, short leash, maybe if he's not good at halftime, sub him out. If you're going to go with Keane, short leash. If he's not good at halftime, sub him out. There's something with Immobile that just doesn't go with the Azzurri. I think the biggest Immobile fans can agree. He's amazing for Lazio. There's just something that doesn't work. I don't know if it's confidence. I don't know if it's the system. And if it doesn't work, you go with another player. That's it.
Ja?
No, Adri, you go.
Yeah, this is brewing, man. Yeah, we're causing a ruckus here with this attack topic. But yeah, guys, listen, it's not a secret anymore. You know, everything that you guys have mentioned, these are not secrets. We see it firsthand every time you know, international break comes around. On this show, you know, we've been behind Chiro a lot. I can speak for myself. I've definitely been behind him. Because I want to see him succeed. And when he succeeds, and the national team succeeds, and you know, we can all be happy. But you know, for me, I don't know. For me, it's tough with Immobile because I think he will be there, especially come Nations League. Like, he's gonna get the call up. I don't think it would be anywhere near drastic enough to say that he won't get called up. I personally don't think so. At least not now or in like the immediate future. You know, come World Cup time, we'll see like where that is because it is still in some time. But I think he will be there. I think he probably will still start. And I don't know if I just think you know, Mancini has the flexibility and has the players and the forwards to interchange if it's formation, if it's personnel. I just don't like sometimes his changes, and when he makes the changes, like if things are not working, like Nick said, our Nick, you know, you gotta make the adjustments accordingly. For me, Insigne, he's still a lock on the left wing for me. He's still probably our best left wing. I wouldn't put Chiesa on the left. We've seen him produce on the right hand side. That's where he can play anywhere, but I think he's best suited for the right wing in a like a 4-3-3. If you go like two strikers, I wouldn't mind seeing him up top because I think he's pretty dangerous. My only problem is, like, we need a killer up top. Our number 9, like, we need a killer. We don't have a killer, an Inzaghi type. You know, I don't know who else you want to name. The legends like Totti, Del Piero, you know, Luca Toni, like killers up top that like a Di Natale, like just want to score and are going to score no matter what. We don't have that. Unfortunately, for me, Immobile is a bit mentally weak. That's why I think it is the big problem with him when he puts the national team jersey on. There's so much pressure. I was listening to Jerry talk the other night on a Twitter Spaces, I think it was, and you know, he's on like a pedestal at Lazio, and rightfully so. He is the man. He's the king right now for Lazio, and you know, everybody, and it's very like feeded towards his playing style. I'm surprised he's doing as well as he's doing in the 4-3-3 with Sarri this quickly, which is encouraging. So hopefully, again, we always say hopefully, but hopefully it's going to come to the national team. I don't know if it will, but if it does, that's great. But here with the Azzurri, he's kind of like not the man and hasn't performed and hasn't scored in, you know, 8, 9, 10 games, whatever it is. And that definitely gets to him. And it shows, which is concerning because for me, our number 9 or any number 9, you got to be a killer, cold-blooded. You got to score. You got to do your job. You got to put the ball in the back of the net. We don't have that, unfortunately. I like Keane, but again, guys, Keane today, he didn't play as a number 9. He played on the wing. He was great on the wing. Again, another player for me who can play across the front 3, in my opinion. Zaniolo, I love. He's got to stay on the pitch. You know, this guy goes into a tackle, it gives me una poca di agita. It's scary, you know. Like, I don't want to see him go down again because he's been so injury prone. So for me, a super sub, I would say for Zaniolo. But yeah, for me, I don't know. I think it's still going to be like for Spain. I still think it's going to be Insigne, Immobile, Chiesa. Going forward, however, I wouldn't be surprised if Immobile gets you know, put onto the bench for somebody else. The false 9, I don't know. I know Mancini has experimented with it. I still don't know how I feel. I know it's kind of worked and it's kind of looked good when like our front 3 guys, there's a lot of movement up front. I know a lot of people are saying like Insigne has proven that he can play the false 9. And then we have another conversation where people are bitching that we don't have a true number 9, a tall number 9, a big figure in the presence. And Insigne, unfortunately, guys, that is not that. So that's kind of another like thing where I'm not sure about the false 9. But yeah, I think, like I said, for Spain, I still think it's gonna be that trio of Insigne, Immobile, Chiesa. I would like to see Keane and Raspadori get their minutes. And I'm kind of hopeful for a guy like Scamacca, because if he can produce and if he can grow and if he can be that target man, we can feed off of him, because this guy is like tall as fuck. This guy is like huge. So if he can be that presence that we need, that we can bounce off players, and he can play maybe a bit more back to goal, a la, I don't know, Lukaku or a la Ibrahimovic. I think it would be give us a different dynamic. I know that's like a ways away, but I don't know. That's another interesting thing for me. But yeah, I want to see Keane, but I want to see Keane produce at the number 9 position, because him too, he's good. Don't get me wrong. I love what Keane has been doing, and I was really bummed when he didn't make the Euro squad. But he's got to be mentally ready. He's got to be hungry. He's got to be.
Belotti.
He should have been.
Yeah.
He should have been. Yeah, sure. We can go back to that episode and we can say that. But, Belotti's another one. For me, he has the traits that can be our number 9. It's not clicking. There's something in him too. It's not clicking. He's a bit sluggish. I don't like how he comes into games, kind of a bit slow and rigid. So that's why I like the young kids that we saw today. Again, guys, it was against Lithuania. We can't get too high on this. 5-0 looks good on the stat sheet for sure, but it's fucking Lithuania. And no disrespect to any Lithuanians out there, but it's Lithuania. When we play an England, when we play a Germany, a Spain, a France, who's going to be our killer? Me, I have to see. Unfortunately, it hasn't been Immobile. I want it to be. I don't know if it's going to be, but if Keane could produce in any of those attacking positions, slot him in. But short term, I'm still going to go with our regular 3. Long term, I probably would say maybe a Keane, maybe Raspadori. But yeah, we need some changes up top, and it's just sad because we have the pieces around that. A true killer for me, I haven't seen. I'm willing to give Immobile another chance because I'll always be behind him and Insigne. But for me, those are the concerns.
So I have the slight advantage of being slightly older than you guys by like 4 or 5 years. So you guys still have like a bit of a recency bias about certain players.
Oh wait, I missed your boy Christian Vieri. Sorry, as a killer.
Yeah,
up top,
so that's why
I was gonna say.
Sorry.
Solid goal scorer that we've had was Christian Vieri for basically scoring at a .47 rate, and he scored 27 goals. 23 goals. My bad. So your boy Del Piero, right? His goal scoring rate 0.3 goals per game. He has a total of 27 goals for La Nazionale. Immobile is only at 0.28 with 15 goals. So if you guys want to crap on Immobile, you better crap on Del Piero.
I'm not taking Del Piero.
Del Piero is not a striker, and he wasn't. He was like feeding Vieri.
Del Piero.
I'm just saying.
Okay, guys, calmati.
I'm just saying, like, Immobile does get hate. I get why, but. Don't forget, it's not Luis Alberto passing him those dangerous passes.
Ja, I don't want to hear that. We have enough guys that can feed him the ball.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear that.
We have a better midfield than Lazio.
Luca Toni only's got one more goal than him, and he has a .34 rate.
Yeah.
Like, you have to understand that, like, goals are not as easy as they come. You have to take, I get it. Yeah, in the future, it's going to be Keane, Raspadori, fucking, you want to put Scamacca, sure. If Pellegrini it pans out all of a sudden, or, or like, yeah, okay, fine, fantastic, beautiful. There's no discussion there. But your front 3, what it should be, is still going to be Insigne, Immobile, and it should be Chiesa over Berardi. I don't think Berardi fits. I think Chiesa is better. Now, I understand why Chiesa should be used as a super sub because he's fast and he's basically going to run circles around the defense. Sure, but I think he should be starting. I think Keane should be used as a 70th minute sub, like how Italy was doing in the Euro Cup with Chiesa at the beginning, where he would sub on and be a lethal force. because now all of a sudden it's like shit. They lost. Immobile is out. Okay, fine, good. Their best striker is out. Crap, what's this fast guy doing on right now? And he's able to get into the dangerous spots too, like Immobile. He's very sneaky. And if what you can do is Zaniolo, you can use him as a sub as well. You swap out if you want to swap out Insigne for him, and then play like a 4-4-2. It puts Zaniolo in the mid. Do it. I love Zaniolo on the right as a forward. Nick Comiso brought up a perfect point. Zaniolo does the kind of play on the right. Great choice too. But I think also he's more naturally a midfielder. And if you put him in if you swap into a 4-4-2 type of system, and you have let's say Immobile was swapped off for Keane, and you have Keane, Chiesa, and Zaniolo in the mid, that's dangerous. And I think right now these kids should be used as like those super subs, as those guys where it's like it's the last 20 minutes of the game, last let's say 30 minutes, 35. Actually, no, that's a bit too much. Last 25 minutes of the game, last 20 minutes.
30
of the game.
minutes.
Yeah. You get these fast guys on. It all of a sudden, it can be lethal. Especially against a team like Spain. Don't forget they played well versus us in the Euros. They outpossessed. They played smart. They basically left Bonucci and Chiellini alone and double marked everyone, no matter which part of the field they were at, with two players. And Italy didn't even have any time to move the ball around or push the ball around. It took Immobile sucking in 2 or 3 defenders with the ball, dropping it off for Chiesa, and Chiesa putting it in the net. That's the thing. Immobile sometimes might not be the guy to score the goal, but he's still a dangerous option that people need to watch out for. And because he is a dangerous option people need to watch out for, that's still effective. Insigne is not going to be like he does score those beautiful tiragiras. Like he does score those, but Insigne is also looking to start up a play. He's a very unselfish player, and that's what I love about Insigne. He does a lot of things to just support the people around him. And my cousin Nick just brought up a good question because I just differentiate between the two. Losing Spinazzola is a big loss for Insigne because they just complemented each other so well with their speed. They just knew where they were at all times on the field. That's why it looked so good. And no disrespect to Emerson. I enjoy Emerson, but I think Emerson's a bit more defensive-minded than Spinazzola was. And Spinazzola, obviously being one of the faster left backs of the world, helps out so much because all of a sudden you got their right backs worrying about Spinazzola running in deep on the left. Insigne just moves more towards the center. And if he gets a good pass, all of a sudden he's got a good opportunity because he's probably wide open. I'm just thinking all hypotheticals here. Like, I still think you still go with not the perfect status quo. I'm not a big fan of Berardi. I'm not saying he's bad. I just think on the right side, he's your third option. I think it should be Chiesa first. And then if you want to put Zaniolo on the right, you can put Zaniolo on the right. Keane can play on the right too, besides the left. I mean, Keane, that's what's beautiful about Keane. That's why I said he should have been there over Belotti in our preview show way back when, before the Euros, where Keane gives you so much of that flexibility that it helps because whenever you need him to be in, he does that. So obviously his natural position is the striker slot, perfect. But I think Berardi's third string on the right rather than first string. But Mancini, I mean, the guy's 37 games unbeaten right now. There was a joke I saw by Danny Russo on Twitter. You could put Mere on left wing and it'd be like, okay, Mancini knows something we don't know. So I think he's not too worried about it yet. And this is a beautiful situation now we're in. It's like, oh shit, we don't have Immobile, who's probably like one, and Nick said it perfectly, one of the better club strikers of this generation. Okay, so if we don't have Immobile, we got Keane now. And I want to see Keane, personally speaking, I do want to see Keane play versus Spain, but I don't want to see him start. I want to see how, I do want to get his feet wet with the more dangerous teams, because a stat that I saw today was that his goals have come against Finland, Lithuania, and 2 other smaller nations. Sure, he's scoring these goals, but look who he's scoring against. Now, I'm not saying he's not good. Please don't take this as me saying that he's not good.
No.
I'm not saying that at all. What I'm trying to say is that, I want to see him versus these bigger clubs and see if he's able to, let's get those goals. Club-wise, he can score those goals. That's fine. But national teams are a different monster, I find. But
yeah, the kid's a beast. The kid's a beast. But I agree with the super
hands
sub.
Down in the future.
If it's get him in the
guy, hands down.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Again, it depends the plan of going forward. But he's a killer. I think he has the traits of being a killer. He's kind of a big cold buddy. He's kind of big on himself too. He hypes himself up. But again, these guys got to be hungry. These guys got to be hungry, in the attack. And sometimes I find we're not hungry enough, except for, say Chiesa, Obviously, today when we saw Raspadori and Keane, but yeah, I don't know. It's just it's one of those things we're gonna have this conversation in a little bit. We'll have it again in a couple months from now, and we'll continue to have it until we find a solution.
Sorry, just one thing. Sorry, I was just gonna say something. Just one thing.
Yeah.
Kind of about what you were saying before. Firstly, again, we're not going to get into it, but Del Piero was the last Campione winner before Ronaldo. But anyways, we're not going to get into that for you. But that's fine. The thing is that like Immobile, like, and this is kind of like going both on the point of like Adriano and Johnny, is that like you don't need to have a killer striker if both of your wingers are killers. The problem is that Insigne isn't a killer winger. As you said, he's a very unselfish player. Which, again, for a lot of the time when he plays, it's definitely something that's to his benefit because he definitely is the guy who's not going to take on like 6 guys, and like take the shot when he sees an easier pass. The problem is that sometimes he does the more complicated pass when there is an easier pass. But like, for example, I'll never forget, France won the World Cup with Giroud. Giroud not only didn't score, he didn't have a shot on target.
Not at all.
He was the starting forward, but the reason why it worked is because he had Mbappe on the right wing and Griezmann on the left wing, which are 2 absolute killers. So your striker doesn't have to be a killer. And don't get me wrong. Like, I think in our system he has to be, but because we do have Insigne on the left, and again, I have no issue starting. Realistically, if you want to be like sensible, like I wouldn't start Insigne against Spain. But you now have our striker who is just not firing, and then you have our left wing who he literally the one thing he hits is I forgot the word you said, but basically like those like really great curlers, like the tira exactly. Yeah. So those I need to learn how to speak Italian, so I apologize. But
okay.
But yeah. So he like other than those though, like he's not a killer. Whereas Chiesa is like our one player who is becoming a killer. So it either means that you need to have a striker who can have good hold up play, which again I don't really see him doing. Scamacca is a really good shout though. He's 6'5", he's massive. That's a really good show. So like I think like he could absolutely be that in the future. But again, your 2 wingers need to be killers. And I don't feel like Insigne is a killer. Insigne is more of a team player, which means that now your striker has to be more of a killer. And I do agree that I do think Keane can definitely like be more of a sub. Like maybe he can come in like the 65th minute. But also most of the goals Keane has scored in his career, although he has played off the left, like today he was a left winger. And he has scored a few goals off the right. Most of his goals, I believe it's like 85% are in center forward. So I remember when he used to play for Juve, when he did get his like couple of goals, it was Mandzukic on the left or someone on the left or Ronaldo, whichever. And he was on the left and he was playing as the center forward. Most of the goals he scored for PSG were Neymar and Mbappe, him as the center forward when Icardi was on the bench. So I definitely think he does have a good future there. But I definitely agree with your points. I still think that is the safe option.
Adri, you were kind of talking about before about being hungry. It perfectly leads into my next question because as Richo wrote, which of the young stars impressed you the most? Yes, it was Lithuania. But they looked hungry.
Yeah, they looked hungry.
He used the word. He used the word hungry. He said also Castrovilli should never be wearing Azzurri blue. Sorry, Mass, I disagree with that. I found he was actually pretty good today. I know he hit the post. He was making some nice passes. And then Antonio Micheli, so similar question. He said, between now and the World Cup, is there any future call-ups that you'd like to see or are deserving of a call-up that has yet to be called up that can increase the skill and depth on the team? Nick?
That's good. Those are good questions. Camiso. We're going to say Camiso.
Rocco.
Yeah, that works.
Rockin.
That works as well. Yeah, so... Okay, so today the problem is that like most of the players, like unfortunately it's a boring answer, but the player that impressed me the most was Keane and Raspadori, because most of the other players we have seen, like I do actually like Pessina a lot, but we have seen Pessina in the Euros. He scored the game-winning goal against against Austria. So
against Wales too,
and against Wales, yes, yeah. Sorry, I was thinking about the round of 16 game, but he also scored against Wales. So I mean, I think they impressed me the most today. In terms overall, like, so that is a bit boring, but in terms of like overall, I do think a player that they can call up, like I love him, is I think Ravella. And I'm not trying to like bring like Juventus bias into it, but like he's balling for Genoa. Like he's absolutely like he's killing it. Like I don't know a player who gets battered 4-0 by a team like in the form of Inter, and you could still say he had a great game, because this guy was like the only like creative like output. He was really good against Napoli as well. He was really good for the U21s. He's already like and I understand like numbers aren't everything, but he's already the 10 for the U21 team. I think Ravella can definitely come in, and I do like Castrovilli, but I feel like Ravella, if he continues this form, could hop him for sure. Young stars haven't been impressing. Again, I'm really trying to stick away from bias, but I genuinely believe Locatelli's a star. I think he's crazy good. I think and I don't know if you guys feel the same way, because I understand he's very like underrated. I know he just won the best player in like Europe, or like, like the best European player award. But do you think Jorginho's absolutely irreplaceable in this midfield? Like he must be in this team.
Yeah, I think because he's the passer. He's the passer.
He's a lock.
And Verratti, he could do that to an extent, but not to the Jorginho level. Then Barella is more of a box to box. Locatelli, we saw some good passes against Switzerland.
Bulgaria.
Switzerland.
Switzerland.
He made that sexy pass to Berardi, and Berardi shot it.
And he scuffed it,
right at Sommer.
Yeah.
But no, I think Jorginho is irreplaceable right now.
Yeah,
okay, cool.
Until somebody tries to show that he does it better than him, which I don't think I'll be for a very long time.
Mm-hmm. And again, I think you should stay too. It's just, I think our midfield, and again, it's such a great problem to have, but I think our midfield is just too stacked. Like Locatelli is good enough to be a starter in like 85% of midfields, and he's not a starter in this midfield. I think Castrovilli is quite decent. I think that like Pellegrini, like Lorenzo Pellegrini of Roma, is really good. I think Ravella can get shouts. It's criminal that we haven't recalled him from Genoa, but anyways, like I think like our midfield is so talented, and I think that's a great problem to have, obviously. But that's where it kind of like also handicaps us a bit, because it's like, for example, you said like low key call ups, or like, are there any youth call ups that can come to the 2022 World Cup? The best they're going to hope is that they're in the squad, but are they really going to get that many minutes? That's a different story, right? Yeah. So it has to be more defensive or forward, that like there's like those low key superstar shouts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. I agree. I don't know. I think it's a bit early for Ravella, in my personal opinion. I don't know. I think him and Tonali, I think, can come up together at one point in time in terms of midfield. Again, like you said, Camiso, problem to have in the midfield. We have a big problem, but it's a good problem, right? We have so much options. In terms of like guys that impressed, like I like that. Bastoni got a shot today. He got his minutes. He looked good. We saw again hungry. We're going on the hungry theme. We saw him hungry and physical in the game against Wales, if I'm not mistaken, at the Euros. So it was good to see him get in, because eventually, guys, we're gonna have to make the transition from this old guard to this newer generation. Unfortunately, well, I don't know. Fortunately and unfortunately, because obviously, Chiellini, Bonucci, they bring that experience, and they bring that mentality and that old school mentality and physicality and just way of playing the game. But again, these guys are not getting any younger. We're gonna have to eventually move on from that. Bastoni has to be a mainstay in the team, I think, if he continues to grow like this. Who his partner is going to be an interesting debate, I think, going forward, because I don't know. Because again, Acerbi's another guy. He's getting up there in age, so it's going to be interesting. But I like Bastoni. Obviously, like you guys meant, or like you mentioned, Nick, there. Keane and Raspadori were the obvious ones. Obviously Locatelli looked good as well. I think it was Bernardeschi today got two assists. The second goal by Keane, see, that's what I mean. Like, we have to have that killer instinct, like one touch, like on the left foot. Like, it was like,
see that pass by Bernardeschi too?
Yeah, but
one touch pass.
Him too. Okay, and now we're gonna go this weekend or the weekend for Juventus, and he's gonna make that pass from the bench.
Keane and Bernardeschi scoring against Napoli.
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe, you never know.
Actually, depending on how many players are actually able to play because of these COVID restrictions, Bernardeschi might actually start.
Yeah.
It's actually ridiculous. That game is going to be so scuffed from both sides. Between injuries for Napoli, they may not even have a goalkeeper, and then Juve's missing all their South Americans. Like, it's crazy. But sorry, let's go off topic.
Yeah, no. But these are the names, obviously, in this short time that have obviously looked impressive. I like the shot of Lorenzo Pellegrini. I think, and again with Castrovilli, you don't want to see him in blue. You want to see him in blue. For me, it's neither here nor there. I think he kind of digressed a bit from the hype that he had maybe a season and a half ago, I would say, because I would have loved him to see him when he was at his best with Fiorentina, behind the striker, making that pass a la Zaniolo. He kind of fell off from that stature. So for a depth guy, I don't mind. It's not criminal if he's included. But yeah, Pellegrini for me as well. What he's done at Roma this past, last season for sure, and obviously the start of this season now. The leadership role, he's wearing the captain's armband. He's seemed to have grown and matured, which is nice. So again, these are just different options, and Pessina, like you mentioned too, is another option. So yeah, again, I think we're set everywhere. Obviously, everybody wants to pinpoint the number 9, and everybody wants to bitch and complain that we don't have a number 9. But it is what it is. And again, back to your point on Jorginho, yeah, for me he's a lock. And again, people want to say, get him off the penalties. He's missed 4 in the calendar year. Okay, but when he was scoring and he was doing the hops, the hop, skip, and a jump, and he scored, everybody was going crazy. So I think we got to manage expectations with that too. If you guys give it to somebody else, give it to somebody else, but let's not go crazy over it, because it's either you want him to take it or you don't. So there's none of this in between. But yeah, it's. I think we're in good hands going forward. There's just definitely things that need to be worked on, as we've all have our opinions on, and everybody on Calcio Twitter does as well. So I think we're good to go. Come the Nations League for sure. Now I just want to see this unbeaten streak continue. Guys, we're at 37 games unbeaten. We have the fucking record. Like, we're able to at least say that, and it's been so great. Can we get to 40? Can we make it all the way to the World Cup unbeaten? I don't know, but it's definitely an incredible feat.
Jenny, there's another question. You want to ask it?
Yeah, sure. Let me just get it up on the phone here. Yeah. So you're talking about the questions about the center backs and the running and the right back, right? Yeah. So same thing.
And we touched upon it right now. So
yeah. So from now until the World Cup, what is the true plan for the center backs, and who should likely be paired? And same thing above, but for right back. And there are many options and spots that seem like it's up for grabs. That comes from Antonio Michelli on
Twitter.
Through Facebook or through Twitter?
Twitter. Yeah. He wrote a Bible. He wrote a Bible on Twitter. God bless the kid. Yeah. I don't know, but God bless.
Yeah. But yeah, so Camise, we're going to start off with you about the center back, right back situation for Italy.
I'm going to start with the right back, if that's okay.
Yeah, go ahead. It's a good spot to start.
Yeah. I feel like the right back is a bit easier. I don't know if it's like as exciting, but I do feel like it has to be one of, unless someone else breaks out before then, like this season or something. I think it should be Di Lorenzo or Calabria. I think Calabria gets a lot of hate, but I do think last year, like maybe it was just like an off season. Like I guess we have to see this year, but I thought he was pretty great last year under Pioli.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I thought he was pretty great. I even think he was a very good makeshift player as well. Like he played that game in CDM. He was like phenomenal as well. So I think he can have a good shout if he stays healthy. I think Di Lorenzo is the boring but reliable option. Like I do think he is definitely the option there. I think Florenzi, and I'm not saying this from recency bias, but I just think he's declined quite a bit. Not because of the whole Bulgaria game, but I just think he's dropped off a bit. So yeah, I would say for right back, unless someone breaks out one of those two, center backs kind of scare me a bit. Because this is the position that, other than goalkeeper, I have never felt more secure in my life. And now, I'm actually looking at it and, I'm a little bit more worried. So, if you're saying World Cup, I don't think you have to change a lot. I think Bastoni's nailed on. He has to be the future, center back, especially the left center back, because, left-footed center back, it's nice to have. I think Bastoni is fantastic. As you said before, he looks very hungry. He was extremely physical. He's very strong. I've seen that pass over, that goal that led to us 57 times against Juve. And he's a great passer. I think he's a very good defender. So I think he's definitely nailed on. The problem is the other center back, because the other center back, there is no one that genuinely convinces me a lot. Because okay, if we're saying short term, World Cup, I don't know if Chiellini's going to play, because my issue is that Chiellini has a 1-year contract with us left. And since the World Cup is in December, that means he's a free agent. So he has the potential of going 4 months without playing. So unless he either re-signs or he signs to someone else and then they take him and they give him limited minutes. I don't know what Chiellini is, so I'm thinking Bastoni is going to start. So I guess Bonucci could start because, like, he's old, but he's not like that bad yet where like he could still definitely partner him. The problem is the options behind him. As I said before, I don't like Azzurri. For Lazio, he's pretty good. For Italy, like, I don't know. Like, he worries me because the problem with him is like, I feel like when he has a mental lapse, everything crashes. So when he played against Bayern, he played really well. He made one mistake and then suddenly they conceded 4.5. So like, I don't know. I feel like when it rains, it pours with him. I think Mancini's okay. Like the Roma center back, I think he's decent. I just haven't seen enough of him. And like, I don't think he's like, obviously it's going to be very hard to find a center back duo as strong and as old fashioned as like Chiellini Bonucci, right? Like you're never going to just have that just on a conveyor belt. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I don't know. Like Toloi, I don't understand why. I don't understand why they really like fought hard for him to like, switch nationalities to us. I think he's like I think he's fine. Like I think he's okay. But I don't think he's starting center back potential. I don't know. Honestly, like I'd love to know what you guys think because I'm definitely a little bit more stumped on that. All I know is that Bastoni has to be a starter. That eventually for future, like he is a must nailed on starter.
Yeah. I think we're kind of on the same like wavelength.
Yeah.
I don't know, but for me, it's like I mentioned about Bastoni before. Like for me, it's a lock. Like once the old guard goes, he's there. I agree with your point, Nick, with Mancini. For me, he's a bit up and down. He has improved, but I need to see more, and I hope to see more, and I hope that he can fulfill that role. I know a lot of people are high on Lovato, who's now on Atalanta, I believe. So if he can produce, if he can develop and grow, I think he's there for the future. So yeah, I don't know. Those are kind of like probably the options right now. For right back, it's between Di Lorenzo and again, shout out for him because he got his first international goal, just like Raspadori did today. Di Lorenzo, Calabria, and Lazzari. Once Lazzari is fit and he brings a different dynamic for me on the right hand side. We saw, I think it was Calabria when he got subbed on today. It was on the left back position when he took out Biraghi. I don't know. Like he is a true right back, so I don't know if he can make the shift to a left back. He doesn't play there for Milan, as we know. But if it's something that can work, maybe. But yeah, I think Calabria definitely deserves a shot. Di Lorenzo's there, who's I guess been proven, and Lazzari for me is another important and an interesting player that I think can be included in this formation, in this lineup. If it's with a 4 at the back, if it's 3 at the back, he can play up and down on the right hand flank for sure. So imagine him on the right and Spinazzola on the left, just bombing back and forth, that speed, that defense. Like, Jesus Christ, guys! Like, I think we're in good hand. Putting in a good ball, hopefully too. Like we're set. So those are the guys I think, for me personally, that are in my mind. Nick, you were going to say something.
I'll let Johnny go first.
Well, I think. I didn't realize that Chiellini did have a short contract, but I think both him and Bonucci have enough left in the tank to, especially at their defense. Like
they'll be there 2022. They'll be there.
2022. They're definitely going to be the tandem, 1-2 tandem. I feel like, but barring any serious life injury or like any big major situation, you can get one more major tournament out of them. I agree full-heartedly that Bastoni is the future in center back. One player that I do hope to see pick up some stride again, because 2 years ago he was really good. This year he unfortunately lost his starting job to players like Kier, which obviously like fully deservedly so. Is Romagnoli. Like he was somebody that he just had a bad half of the season and then lost his starting job. But I think he just needs to find his stride again because he was strutting along to be part of that future backline for Italy. So I hope he picks up his pace, and after 2022 that it could be Bastoni and Romagnoli. I'm actually drawing a blank. Do they kick with the same foot? Do they play with the same foot?
They're both left.
I know people don't like that, but at this point in time, I mean, like if it comes to little details like that, it's sometimes, like you just got to go with the best that you have available, whether if they're same footed or not. Azzurri also does continue to be a good replacement option. I think he's more of a second string defender in terms of back line. Right back, like you guys all said, it starts off with Di Lorenzo, Calabria. Unless Calabria really steps it up and really earns the spot over Di Lorenzo, because as much as I love Di Lorenzo, he is prone to make some, I don't want to call him boneheaded mistakes, but he forgets where he is. Like let's go back to the Euro final.
We saw it. Yeah, we
saw the Luke Shaw goal. Like he completely forgot to mark Shaw. Like I was just there like before Italy tied the game. I'm just there like, I hope they just don't lose because of a Di Lorenzo mistake, because that's going to shatter his confidence for Napoli, and I'm just never going to hear the end of it, type of thing. Yeah. Florenzi, as much as I love the guy, Chiesa de Totti, the podcast, made up a good point where for so many years he was asked to do so many different things, and because of that lost a lot of stride, and he didn't fit in the main squad. They shipped him out. He lost motivation. He went to Valencia, he went to PSG. Now he's back, and it's just like he came back and then they shipped him out again. And it's like, imagine like your childhood club telling you, we don't have a role for you anymore. Like your team that you grew up loving and idolizing and everything, and they tell you, yeah, sorry, no, like you're not going to be part of this. You're not going to be part of the club anymore. And that hurts. And I think Florenzi right now has a big bruise in his, I don't want to say ego, in his motivation. So Florenzi, unfortunately, is third string on the right for me. It's got to be Di Lorenzo, Calabria. And I wouldn't mind if, let's say, Calabria steps up his game and then replaces Di Lorenzo. At this point for La Nazionale, I'd rather just have the best player available. And then left side, it's a lock. It's going to be
Spina.
Obviously going to be Spina, Emerson.
In Spina, we trust.
Yeah. So, I like what you said before, Camis, about the for once the one position that we were always so secured about in center backs is no longer that thing. And it's crazy how we went from the years of like, you got Nesta, Cannavaro, you could Maldini, if you ever wanted to play center back, you could, even though it was mostly a left back. Like, but now it's like, shit, once we lose Bonucci, Chiellini, are we okay?
Yes.
Or do we really have to, like, is Bastoni going to be that good enough? Or is it going to be something like, shit, like, what happens if he dips? But anyways, center back is more where I'm a little bit worried about versus right back.
But even at center back, like if you think, I don't know, like after the World Cup in 2006, Cannavaro is aging. Nesta was already aging. I know he got injured. I know he still had good seasons left. There was Materazzi, who was good, but he wasn't. He was never like a top defender. I'm sure then people are already asking who's coming up next. I really don't know how much of big of a prospect Chiellini was. He was actually a left back, so I don't know if people talked about him as a center back. Nobody really knew who Bonucci was. So those things.
Chiellini had a bit more hype.
Yeah, but as a left back
term than Bonucci. Bonucci was more of the sleeper guy. Because he worked so well, he became the starter. Like Chiellini though did have the belief from behind him from the get go.
And then obviously Barzagli was a prospect because he was on that 2006 team as a young player, but then he disappeared for a couple of years and then comes back with Juve. So I think with center back, that's a position where you go with maybe a bit more veteran. Obviously, Bastoni's the future. I like to see Mancini maybe get some more playing time. I know he's another player that kind of dipped in form the past year or so.
Might become better again with Mourinho.
So we'll see. Right back, I like Di Lorenzo, honestly. He's solid defensively, and Adriano, you're saying, Calabria, just imagine him and Spinazzola bombing down the wings. I don't think you could do that because I think you need at least one solid defensive fullback and then one more attacking one. If you have two attacking fullbacks,
I was saying if it's Lazzari, Lazzari. If we go three at the back, let's say, or three, let's say because Mancini has kind of shown this bit of a flexibility. He went false nine, he went other formations. Let's just say we can do a three at the back and we can do it like a 3-5-2. I don't know. Like let's just say hypothetically. Imagine having those guys bombing back and forth and you still have your three center backs. Like, you're set. But again, I think Calabria has the means to overtake Di Lorenzo. And again, like the midfield, like other positions, it's a good problem to have because we have these two guys or even three that can make the jump.
Yeah. So, that's it. But I still like Di Lorenzo, honestly. I know he's 27. I know 27 is young, but in soccer, that's a bit. I'm not saying he's up there yet, but it's not like he has like 10 years left. You know, he has maybe 3-4 years of solid, and then after, I think athletes after 30 they really start to dip. But Nick, we could talk about the Azzurri forever, even though this was just from 3 games. You know, we talked about them all summer from the Euros. 3 games happen, and we do over an hour long podcast just talking about the Azzurri. Look at this. They're 37 games unbeaten. We won the Euros. We haven't lost since September 2018, and there's controversies about strikers. You know, we're talking about the future, this and that. I mean, it's good problems to have, but also let's not get carried away too much. You know, let's enjoy it while Italy's still good, because we saw the Ventura era. We don't like to see that. But another chance at a trophy in a month from now. So they play Spain on October. I believe it's October 6th.
October 6th.
Yes,
yeah.
October 6th, and then the final is October 10th, if I'm not mistaken. Nations League. Italy plays the semis and a potential final in Milan in the Stadio San Siro. Just imagine Italy lifting a trophy at that stadium. I really hope they win it, just to like put their stamp on things. Like, look, we won the Euros.
Adrian's getting hype. Getting hype. Look at him.
Let's go.
Let's go. Have to win this. They should not have to win this to you know what I mean? Like, to prove something. Because anyone who says that they didn't deserve to win the Euros is lying to themselves.
Yeah.
Because inevitably, they were the best team. There is no doubt about it.
And there's no bias here, guys. I know it's 4 points in a chat here, but there's no bias.
No. No, honestly, like, all jokes aside, genuinely though, like, they were like, even in like, again, like, I know like we're like dipping kind of far back, but even in like the England game, like I went over the stats in that game, like, and like, because I talked to my friends about it and all that, like, they had legitimately 820 passes to 420. They had like over double the shots. They had like 67% possession. Like, they were the best team. And as like Nick was saying, 37 games unbeaten is incredible. To say that you haven't lost in 3 years, like, that's kind of nuts, considering where they went.
Especially after coming off not qualifying for the fucking World Cup after 60 damn years. Guys, like, you can't even write this script up, even if we tried. That's what's more impressive. It's incredible.
That's 0 to 100, genuinely. Like, aside from like a little jump, that's monstrous.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. But
like
quickly, guys.
Star Wars Episode 9 wasn't even out yet. Jesus.
September 10th against Portugal. But quickly, guys, give me your predictions for Nations League. Where do they finish? 1, 2, 3, or 4? Nick, we'll start with you.
1, 2, 3, or 4. 1.
So they win it, they lose final, win bronze, or lose bronze.
They, I think they win it. I think the Spain game is going to be hard, but I do think that they understand what's coming now. Because I do feel like, again, like the only reason they really struggled against Spain, like, okay, obviously the Spinazzola injury was like quite bad, but really, like, it's because Italy has become a possession style team, and that is Spain's game. So like the thing is like when you play against that, and it's like, okay, now we have to counterattack. It kind of changes your game up a lot more than people think, right? But I do think that they have a slightly better idea now, and I do think they win it. I genuinely think that they win it, not by a landslide, but I think they win.
Yeah. Johnny,
and you know
we'll do Johnny.
Sorry, Jag, go, because I have something else.
No, Adrian, you go then.
No, just because I was going to say, like, we had this whole conversation before, an hour plus. This is crazy, guys, an hour plus. But, you know, when we were saying, like, we faced them in the Euros, right? And you know, we saw the type of game that was played. And, you know, every so often, Johnny had to remind me, Adria, they play possession. We were at Chocharo's here in the east end of Montreal. Shout out to Chocharo's. But, you know, and no, but seriously, I'm like, oh my God, you know, we're not going to do it. Here we go, you know. And Johnny, okay, it's okay. They play possession in the.
Everybody was super hyped every time Italy had the ball in the offensive half. I was the only one that wasn't moving around because I'm like, this is not going to make it.
So he
moved was the Chiesa opportunity.
Yeah, and we were going bananas and screaming like maniacs. But you know, it's now we have these. Hopefully, we'll have these options of, you know. We didn't see a Keane at Euro 2020. We didn't see a Zaniolo Euro 2020. If Raspadori wants to kind of wiggle his way in to make a move into this squad, we didn't see too much of him or very little of him at Euros. So like I think they have the means to do it to win. But just guys, remind me, it's on the other side. It's Belgium and No.
And France.
Belgium,
And
France.
France. Guys, these nations, they're beatable. We can't go in there with fear. We've shown the world what we're about. Obviously, they know what we're about now, so they're not going to take us any lighter than they already were, or if they weren't going to take us lightly to begin with. But now we're the European champions, so we have a bit of a chip on our shoulder. They're going to try to take that chip off. We got to go there, no fear, and I think we can do it. I think we have the means to do it, and this unbeaten streak is one fact to show that we can do it. So I think they do win it. I'm with Camiso here. I don't think it's a landslide walk in the park, cakewalk. But again, I think they have the means to do it, and I think this will be another cherry on the top, and the biggest cherry on the top will be the World Cup. But in the meantime, we'll take the Nations League and make the Italian people jump and happy at San Siro. And it would be an early birthday present for our very own Nick Di Giovanni as well.
There you go.
I'm gonna go with look how original I am. Another first place finish for Italy, but I think in the Spain game, it took a Morata beautiful opportunity for them to score that tying goal in that game, and I don't know how he got past 5 players, but that pass got passed through 5 defenders, defenders and mids. But long story short, it took an opportunity like that for Spain to even tie the game. So. And especially that, I'm going to make the extra prediction that Keane will make an appearance, but as a sub. And I think that might be a bit of a like I said, I wasn't choosing Immobile over Keane because I hated Keane. I love Keane, and I think Keane is going to get a little bit more of a welcome coming out party, so to speak, by being subbed on against Spain and somehow getting that super sub type of goal. I feel confident that he can do that. Hey, if I'm wrong, I look like an idiot, fine, that's fine by me. But I'm feeling confident to make that prediction. I don't think Raspadori sees any playing time. No disrespect to Raspadori. He's still too green. He's not blue yet. But whatever. And depending on if we play Belgium, I'm very confident. If we play against France, that's going to be a tough game. That's going to be a very, very tough game. And we'll have to see how the roster's looking at come that time before I want to make a prediction. But I think we can win it. I honestly do. Cool heads will prevail 1 game at a time, 1 minute at a time, basically.
Manage our expectations.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I mean, of course I'm going to say I think we could win it. I think realistically we beat Spain in the semifinal. And then in the final, Belgium or France is going to be a tough matchup. Obviously, Italy has the advantage at home, but we saw, what that did to England, right? So... I mean, it would be beautiful, like I said, in such an iconic stadium that might not be around for many years. We don't know what's happening with that project, no, I want to see them win, get that hardware. Nick, we're used to as Juventus fans just winning as many possibles in short time. It's different with international. You can only win once every 2 years. So at least with the Nations League, they threw in another trophy. It's nice, but no, I'm pumped. I was looking forward to it since the Euros, a chance to win another trophy. It'll be fun to watch. Hopefully we could score some goals. But Nick, originally our plan was talk to you for a bit and then talk some Serie A on our own. An hour 20 here just talking about Azzurri.
It's crazy.
We could talk honestly. We could talk all day.
This conversation, exactly. Nick said, it's can go until next year, until next week.
But Nick, where can we find you on social media? I know we talked about it at the top of the show, but where can people follow your 2 Twitter accounts?
Wait, before that prediction, Juve, Napoli, Juve. What do you think?
See, I don't want to answer that.
Smart.
I don't know because do you know what my problem is? Is if they didn't have this dumb South American thing where they're returning 24 hours before the game and all that. I really do and again, maybe it's just blindly, I do believe Juve would win. However, with all these things and Osimhen, we're not going to get into this, but Osimhen having his ban flipped or his 2-game ban revoked, I don't know. I think a tie is a reasonable show. I'm still going to go 2-1 Juve though. I'm going to say 2-1 Juve. I'm going to say Keane scores one of them. That's what I'm saying.
So the Azzurri boy scores 1. It's 2 big games, Napoli, Juve, Milan, Lazio this week. So it should be an interesting weekend in Serie A.
Napoli Sansone on Twitter, he's going to be in tears when Keane scores against Napoli.
Oh, he's going to be the most conflicted man alive. He doesn't even know what to do.
This guy is going to turn left. He's like, oh my God. He's going to turn right. Oh my God. So we'll see what happens. But again, like our Nick was saying to you, Nick Comiso, thank you again so much for jumping on tonight. And, you kind of changed our plans last minute because we just couldn't stop talking Azzurri. But I guess that's what you get when you have 4 Italians in a room. So just like Arnick was saying, where can we find you on social media? And anything you want to plug, the floor is yours, my friend.
I was going to say, firstly, I want to say thank you again. Honestly, this was such a fun time. As I said before, this is the first time I've been on a podcast, and it felt super natural. So again, thank you so much for this opportunity. It was really great.
Sure.
I forgot what I was going to say. I was going to say the social. Sorry, I was going to say. I was going to say, because you said that like we had changed the plans and we just talked a lot. I did warn you that I do have that problem, as do many Italians, that we just we continue. So I again apologize for that. Just the social media, literally just maybe the Average Chiesa Enjoyer account, honestly. But like to be quite honest, as I said before, like that account was just made just for fun and just for banter. But to be quite honest with you, like I use that account more than my regular social media. So I mean, if you want to hit a follow there, otherwise, yeah, I mean, obviously I'll see you around in interactions.
There you go. So if you want some interactions there, Nick's a good kid. He's a good guy. He's been a great guest tonight, and we'll give him a follow.
Any relation to Rocco?
Yeah, Rocky.
Absolutely not. No, I'm kind of embarrassed. No, I'm kind of embarrassed. Yeah, no, my God, do you know my problem? Okay, sorry, very quickly, because I know we're running late. My dad, again, not any relation to Rocco Camiso, his name is Dominic. He's so extra, because this guy goes and he says that he's an Inter fan now, which he's not. He's lying. But he actually went out of his way, bought an Inter jersey, got Barella on the back of it. And then he's like, oh, I need to get a Fiorentina jersey because, we need to support our Camisos. And I'm like, this guy is so dumb, though. And I'm like, you understand the things he says are, like, so stupid. And by the way, like, my dad is, like, he's not really that big of a soccer fan. Like, obviously, like, Azzurri. But he's, like, more of, like, a hockey guy. Like that is, like, his thing. So the fact that he, like, tries to just, like, irritate me at every step of the way. And he's like, yeah, we should get a Fiorentina jersey and support our Camisos. And I tell him, like, this guy is genuinely, like, he is not a smart. Like, the stuff he says is embarrassing. But, yeah, luckily we're not involved with that.
Good.
We're not associated.
That's some good stuff. But yeah, so like I was saying, give Nick a follow. Like we say every week, guys, thank you so much for the support, the continued support. Serie A is back this week, so definitely get your games in this weekend. And where you can find us, like we mentioned every week, at the Calcio Guys on all social media platforms, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube as well. And catch our podcast, rate our podcast, like our podcast on all your podcasting platforms. And we'll be back next week to talk a lot more Calcio.
Thanks for listening.
Ciao.
Bye.
The Calcio Guys is a weekly podcast by Adriano DiNardo, Gianni Delacoli, and myself, Nicholas Di Giovanni. We want to bring Calcio back to its roots in our communities and share stories from around the world about why we're passionate about the beautiful game. You can listen to us anywhere where you listen to your podcasts, including Spreaker, Google Podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, iHeart Radio, and Mixcloud. Give us your opinion on social media at The Calcio Guys on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The outro song is The Last Ones by Jazar.